The holidays are here, and with giftcards.com, it's easy to send the perfect gift. From gamers and foodies to fashion and beauty lovers, there's a great gift card option for everyone on your list. Or surprise them with the specially curated Holiday Favorites e-gift card. Redeemable at Lululemon, Grubhub, Ulta, Wayfair, Macy's, Lowe's, and Barnes & Noble. Your lucky loved one can pick their favorite athleisure, beauty products, home decor, and entertainment all with one convenient gift. Holiday Favorites cards are delivered near instantly via email and can be used both in-store and online, making them both easy to send and spend. They contain no fees and never expire, making it a perfect gift you can't go wrong with. Start gifting today at www.giftcards.com/multi. Happy holidays from giftcards.com.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is John Silver, lead recruiter of the Dark Order, and you are listening to All Things Elite.
Everybody, welcome to the 88th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Somewhat, and I am the host of this lovely show. Joining with me, as always, is my good friend, my good partner, my good buddy, Floyd Johnson Jr. How you doing, man?
I am doing well. I'm doing better than people in California and the UK because in Oklahoma, Christmas is not canceled. But as we get through this and get closer, getting our last gifts out there, I think I've gotten everybody a gift that I plan on getting a gift. So I'm done with that. I'm just ready to eat some ham on Christmas, and it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, about the same for me. I've got a couple gifts that still need to get through the post, and specifically one for my sister that needs to get here ASAP. And the fact I haven't gotten any update on it whatsoever, so the fact that it hasn't shown up is actually quite annoying. But other than that, all my gifts have been shipped out, and it's been good. I've been able to have a little bit of money left over where I've gotten some people some cool gifts. I've also been I participated in a Reddit Secret Santa, and I got some cool gifts for this one guy in Florida, and then I just found out today my Secret Santa gift shipped, so I'm unbelievably excited to see what this random person got me.
That is awesome. I'm going to throw this out here so we can get it out the way. Next week, this is planned because it is Christmas weekend. Christmas week, Austin's going to spend time with his family. I'm going to spend time with my wife, so there will not be a show next week. So just wanted to throw that out there. I figured y'all would expect it almost, but we will be back after the December 30th. Once Austin sobers up from New Year's Eve, we'll get a show recorded for you.
I got to say, last year at New Year's Eve, I did actually have some cider. And I was just like, is this what it feels like? Is this what it feels like?
Well, last year, New Year's Eve, I was working. My wife came in, and we had a little bit of the bubbly. We had some champagne at midnight while I was working, and then I went back to work. So,
all right.
Yeah, it was very, very, very married guy thing.
Yeah, and if only we would have known the year that would hate us. But Either way, yes, we will not be on next week. I'm sure everyone understands it. A lot of people taking off. Hope you guys have an amazing holiday regardless. We're going to get into this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, which of December 16th is the episode we're covering. But first off, I got to chill a little bit. We want to make sure you're downloading this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. And we also appreciate you if you listen to us on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Any of those services, you can give a share the episode with your friends. Unbelievably, we would care about it so much. You can also leave a rating and a review about how we're doing. If you're so inclined to, you can also leave a donation through our podcast provider, Red Circle. We'd be so grateful for that. The least you can do if you want to support us in any way is following us on social media. We are on Twitter at ATElitePod, and our boys at Social Suplex who make the show possible, they are at Social Suplex. Myself on Twitter, I am at SZoomer4, and Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter as well.
I'm very boring. Before we get to the big news, I have to talk about something very emotional to me. Did you watch The Mandalorian?
No, I have not watched it.
Oh, okay, so no, absolutely.
We can't do spoilers. We're trying viciously.
You know what? Let me tell you. I wouldn't have spoiled it anyway. I would have just said, "Oh my God, do you know what happened? Oh my God," I would have been like that because I don't believe in spoiler because we live in a streaming world now. So very few people watch something when it normally comes out. So it comes out like Friday morning at 2 a.m. Central. So I generally won't talk about it with someone that I explicitly didn't know watched it like in DM until like a week afterwards. And I honestly think that's a little early. It's just we live in a streaming world. People watch shit when they got time. It's not like, okay, you got to watch it right now. I work overnight, so I happen to be up when the show releases. So, but yeah, like I think it was a few weeks ago when I went to Winter's Coming and I was moving. I didn't have time to watch it that Friday when it came out. I didn't watch it until like Tuesday. Completely spoiled. The whole like the whole episode. No, like people don't tag, people don't do anything. Don't put hashtags in it. I'm just like, good Lord, I hate you all. So I don't really hate anyone, but it's just very annoying. Like I understand you're excited, but most people have friends that they can directly message. You don't have to put it in this public place, and if you do, throw a hashtag on there. If I don't have the hashtag muted, I get it. That's on me. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's one of those things like the next week's AEW spoilers are out, right? I literally I went and muted. I went and muted a lot of the tags because I know people get to sharing without, tagging or anything. They're just like, okay, this happened. I'm like, God, I hate you. I'm like, I mean, because you know what? It's so funny because wrestling's a TV show. Like, people don't like Grey's Anatomy. Like, they shoot their shit like 6 months in advance. You could go literally read everything that happens on Grey's Anatomy for the rest of this year right now if you wanted to go on the internet and find it, right?
Right.
But no one does. They just wait for the show. But in wrestling, having the knowledge before anyone else is this big thing that people care about, and I just don't understand it. It's like, I knew before you knew. Well, I could have known. I have a computer.
You know what? Actually, before we get into the big news of the week, I mean, it's pretty. If you're a fan of AEW, you probably know what we're talking about either way. But before we do that, I also want to talk about just real quickly, like kind of what's been going on with Grill and JR and what happened over.
Oh yeah, we should.
With his podcast and what he decided to talk about on the podcast, because it's been a topic of discussion about it, and other things have been happening, including like AEW wrestlers voicing their opinion on JR, speaking about it publicly, and also about the fact that apparently a couple wrestlers who were not doing well at catching people during these said dives, they got yelled at apparently, which, I mean, you're supposed to catch the person. It's pretty important, so I can kind of understand why that would have happened. But yeah, JR commenting about the fact that like the huddling together and doing the dive, people are just like, it's so clear, and like cameraman tries to hide it, and then it's going to happen either way. It's contrived, it's overused, it only happens to pop a holy shit chant, and like that's pretty much it. It doesn't finish anything, and like it's just kind of like the wave of wrestling nowadays where like moves that used to finish before aren't finishing anymore. And I'll just say my point on the fact, like JR has completely a good point with like most of what he said, like pretty much almost everything he said. Very strong point. But you kind of work for these guys and you work for this company. It's like the thing that I compare it to randomly, and it's like a really off the air thing, is back in like 2018 when the Steelers were just unbelievably cancerous with like all the backstage stuff and like just player drama. Like it was when Le'Veon Bell was on a holdout and Antonio Brown was still being unbelievably cancerous, and Ben Roethlisberger had his own podcast and he was just throwing his own receivers under the bus and not taking like responsibility for like something that's partially on him. Now, I'm not saying that applies completely to JR, but the fact that like Ben kind of disparaged his own teammates on his podcast, like it's kind of what JR is doing, and it's like you're totally fine having those opinions, and I think bringing it up to talent is like completely understandable. Like you're a legend in this business for a reason. You have the willpower and the reason to say those kinds of things to people, but to say it publicly on a podcast, it's kind of like what the fuck, man? Like you could have just told us this, and then it probably wouldn't have upset a bunch of people. But I mean, he's right though on a lot of this stuff. So, but Floyd, if you want to say anything on this, I think.
Okay, as I'm an old guy, I'm 40, so I'm just gonna say I have seen the evolution of wrestling just as much as anybody. I've watched it where it was like a lot of headlocks and all that kind of stuff. Arn Anderson said in the 80s it was like you didn't have to call a match because you knew what naturally went after what. And I knew that even when I was young and wrestling was real. It was like it was a dance. I knew what was coming next based on the previous move. Well, as we've gotten older, and wrestlers have become more athletic, a lot smaller. It takes more than just being 6'4", 250 pounds to get over. It takes athleticism and stuff like that. So, yes, he was right on a lot of things. When I'm watching wrestling with casual wrestling fans, which I don't do a lot, when I'm watching wrestling with casual wrestling fans, which I don't do a lot, and they do the standing thing and they wait for the catch, almost 100% of the time, the person I'm watching with points it out. They're like, are they just waiting on that guy? And I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of wrestling. That's new wrestling. So I don't know. I think there's a happy medium. JR is old. And I know and there's a rule I have. I've always said I can't wait to get old. Why? Because when you're old, you can say what you want. And JR is taking full advantage of his old past. And if I'm one of the younger people, I just say that's an old guy's opinion and keep going. It's not like he's burying it on the show. On the show, he's professional and he does his job. He calls it. He even covers for people. But in his own life, in his own personal life, he can say what he wants, long as his boss says it's cool. So Tony probably doesn't seem to have a problem with it. So if Tony doesn't have a problem with it, I'm fine with it too. Wrestling has this weird political system that I will never understand or be a part of. And maybe it was wrong. Maybe it's against some unwritten rule, but it all is pretty dumb to me. It's just like, hey, if he doesn't like it, I get it.
Yeah, and I totally understand that too. But I guess just my mindset, it's not even like an unwritten rule thing. It's more so like if you work for this business, like say whatever you want on your own time, but like to go on your own show and then and say something that could be viewed as disparaging, like that's just like
wasn't that his own time? It's his show.
Yeah, but again, it's still public though. That's what it is.
I mean,
when I say own time, I mean like behind closed doors.
I think I feel like I got a good handle on JR's personality.
Oh,
people that no, I'm just saying, people that heard that wasn't the first time that they've heard that. He said that directly to them in private before, and then he said it in public too. But I'm just saying, he's been around the business forever. He's probably complained about it like a lot, to the point where he didn't feel like they were listening to him. And then he said, okay, I'm going to just put it out there. If they're not going to listen, I'm going to just say it in a way that you have to pay attention. And then, of course, you get people that are upset, like, it seems like Brandon Cutler has been in the biggest voice. And I'm just like, I just hate that people are looking into conspiracy theories like he got pulled from the match because he talked back. No. I mean, it was supposed to be a 14-man match. One person on the team, other team on the inner circle, wasn't able to make the show. He's kind of the odd man out because the other 6 people were all parts of a tag team. It just made sense for Cutler to sit out.
Sure.
I mean, I just don't, like I said, people are like, oh yeah, JR could cost them. I'm like, no, they don't do that. They don't. I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't because it's wrestling. Like I said, I've never been a wrestler. I really don't understand it, but that just seems like far beyond petty. That the kind of stuff JR talked about getting away from in the WWE.
Right, yeah. But with that conversation out of the way, we can now get to the true big news of the week, which, I mean, I can imagine Floyd is unbelievably excited about this, as everyone should be too, because Cody and Brandi announced on AEW Dynamite that they are expecting. Brandi is pregnant, and they will be having a child. Hell fucking yes. Like, I got nothing else to add to it. I mean, it's just awesome. Nothing but congratulations to them. Like, it's truly awesome.
Congrats to the king and the queen of the Nightmare family. We get a Nightmare baby, which Brandi then put out a onesie that I ordered for my friend's kid because I don't have any. But congratulations. I am, the next generation of Rhodes. I'm personally hoping for a boy, of course. But
sure, yeah.
No, I'm just happy for them. I'm happy because it's something they wanted. And apparently they had wanted for a while. And, I mean, it'll go down in history. I don't know if this was it, but it'll go down in history as a COVID baby.
Yeah.
Because anything that happened, like from March when you got stuck in your house to now, COVID baby. And AEW is becoming really really popular and amazing at announcing babies on air. I mean, of course, Moxley, in his Moxley way, did it very subtly. But come on, Cody, you've seen his entrance. He had to do it as a big deal with a Gucci package and Gucci booties. I looked those up online, $350 baby booties. Yeah. So they had to do it the way Rhodes do shit, and that's big, and I love it. Congratulations to both of them. I know everybody started doing their math, and I'm like, okay. Everybody's like, well, 9 months from now. I was like, she didn't get pregnant the day they announced it. I'm just throwing that out there for you. You like, just hold on your math. And let them tell you how far along she is, because I guarantee you they didn't find out on Wednesday. So, again, congrats. I noticed that Brandi had stopped working. They had kind of moved Red Velvet away from her. I was wondering what was going on. They kind of wrote her off the show with the arm thing. I was really wondering what's going on. And then, she's pregnant. So, happy for both of them. That baby is going to be spoiled beyond recognition. Well, I mean, he already has Gucci booties that are worth more than, most of the things I own. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I got a TV at Black Friday, so the Gucci booties are worth more than my TV.
There you go. I mean, that's just how life works sometimes, and that's just how Cody and Brandi do it. Once again, congratulations to them. But now, let's get into AEW Dynamite for December the 16th. We opened up with John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order continuing off of last week, they got Hangman Adam Page to tag with them in a 6-man tag match against Matt Hardy and Private Party. And overall, I mean, I like this pairing. I really do. I like just seeing Hangman and his interactions with the Dark Order. I guess mainly just his interactions with John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Like, that's just worked really well. And just Hangman just kind of being like cross that it's happening, but at the same time, he's like, whatever, like, we'll just deal with it. Like, it's been so much fun just to see the rise of Alex Silvers and John Silvers, especially John Silver. It's just been so much fun to watch. It seemed like at the end, I mean, Private Party was able to get the win, and then they hit the gin and juice on Reynolds, and eventually Hardy tagged himself in and then just picked up the pin himself, which I was just like, oh boy, like, I'm not sure how this is going to go down. So Private Party was very much like not happy with how the win happened in general, but they got the win. Now it's like, I'm interested to see like what they're going to do with the continuation with Hangman and the Dark Order, because I mean, like, Dark Order's whole thing is like, join us and you'll win more. And then like Hangman's just like tagged with these guys and they lost. I think it's just like, I can just picture the comedy gold that like these interactions will be, because Hangman's crazy entertaining, John Silvers and Alex Reynolds are great. Like, it's just going to be a ton of fun to see what comes out of this, especially if Brody Lee comes back at some point.
Yes. Only thing I would say is it's just funny how popular John Silver and Hangman are. They lose. Like, John Silver is like 0-something on Dynamite. He never wins on Dynamite. And he's still over. He's, it's not as a comedic of a character, but it's close. He is the R-Truth of AEW.
You know what? I can totally see that.
But he doesn't.
And like, I guess this the difference. I guess the difference is just like R-Truth works well. He really does. And like, he's way more comedic like than John Silver, because like his comedy is just like in like all over the place. I just feel like John Silver like is just the kind of guy that you wouldn't expect to be like a crazy worker, but he is. Like, I lose my mind with how fast he'll move around and the crazy shit that he can do. And just like, he's got a very unique look, and he uses it to his advantage completely. Like, it's just, it's so good.
He's funny. The reason I chose R-Truth, he's funny. He's over the top with some of his silliness sometimes, but kind of anything he does is over and it works, and it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. People still love him. I'm not saying exact point for point.
Oh, sure,
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he is their version of R-Truth. And of course he can wrestle, he can go, so people love that. Like, the combination moves that they were doing between Reynolds and then Hangman, I was like, dude, they need to win this. I want them to be the first trios champion, because I was all over it. And I was just like, and then they lost. And I was like, oh, why do they keep losing? Yeah, because, Hangman, loses. So, but I understand why it happened. You had the Hardy Party storyline that you had to get through, and it went perfect.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see where that goes. I think like it's a story I wasn't really expecting this soon with the Hardy Party. It should be interesting at least a little bit, but we'll see exactly what comes out of it. We then had an Inner Circle interview backstage with Alex Marvez. MJF had an award from the New York Times, apparently. It was a Best Performance Award for Dinner Debonair. They're still holding on to that. They still love, like, socking it to people who didn't like that segment, and MJF is just, like loving that segment even happened. He gets reminded by Jericho, hey, I was a part of that, And he was like, I couldn't have done it without you. And then he had, like, a smirk. So kind of just a quick little interview there, also building up what the Inner Circle would do later tonight. We then had a singles match between Cody, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, versus TH2's Angelico, which, like I said, like, I wasn't expecting this matchup, and like, man, it was pretty good. I mean, like, really, really strong. It went longer than I thought it was going to be. And it was also, like, we just found out about Cody becoming a dad and Brandi becoming a mom.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that kind of checked out after that. Like they might
just didn't care about the match. They were just like,
they missed
Cody's dad.
Yeah, they missed Cody's match. It was a huge announcement. It's like I didn't even know if they wanted kids. Personally, I don't like find everything that they say. I didn't even know if they wanted kids, so I was really shocked. And I was like, oh, that's really awesome as far as the special announcement. But yeah, I had to go back and watch the match again because I'm on Twitter liking everything and DMing people and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, the match is over. Cody won. Whoa. Yeah, my boy. Yeah, if you would have asked me 5 minutes after that match what happened, I was like, you hit a Cody cutter? That's all I saw. But I thought the match, well, like when I went back and watched it, I thought the match was, because I just watched the replay. The match was pretty cool. It was, Angelico wrestles, a way that is very, it works well with what Cody's trying to do. Lots of mat wrestling, and he's a very athletic dude. Like I said, it was, good TV match. But, Cody got the win. That was what it was for. And then, then the stuff happened afterwards.
And yeah, exactly. It built up to the stuff that happened afterwards, which is when Team Taz came out. He was like, Cody's going to be a daddy. It's so nice. And Taz just immediately getting the heat on that. He points to Darby Allin up in the stands, talks about how Brian Cage is going to whoop his ass. He also said that they'd be coming to put Cody on paternity leave. And then Sting shows up, and Sting comes out with his baseball bat. Team Taz walks away. He looks up the ramp to Cody, gives him a wink as Darby just stares from the rafters. Again, it's just like the slowest build. It's also, you know what? I will say, Tony made a really good observation too. Every time we see Cody, Sting shows up. And it's only been a couple weeks, but to make that observation is kind of interesting. But yeah, we still know very little of when Sting is going to get in the ring, if he gets in the ring, or what he's up to. And like, he's still very much shrouding himself in mystery. But every time he shows up, people go nuts. So really cool ending to this match with this whole segment. Anything you want to talk about this, Floyd?
Yes, I wanted him to hit somebody.
Obviously. Oh, when he pulled out the bat, I was like, you better be smacking some motherfuckers.
And then Will Hobbs ran up, and I just like...
Oh, Will Hobbs came out, and I was just like, crack him in the head, dude. I was like, I'd lose it. Just Powerhouse Hobbs just coming up like no fear, and it just gets clocked. I would have loved that happened.
Yeah, and it was just like, unfortunately, we do live in a world where, now, and it was like, so I saw that complaint. It's like, is Sting gonna do anything? It's literally like,
it's crazy because like, well, I'll say this a little bit because I've seen wrestling fans a ton of times be like one of their main complaints about WWE is about how they don't do long-term storytelling, and I'm like, that argument has some weight to it, and it definitely has a good amount of examples to back it up. But AEW does long-term storytelling, and they're just like, why does Miro look like shit right now? And why is Sting not doing anything? And I'm just like, you guys I can't please y'all. I'm sorry.
The thing that made me laugh, so someone posted, why is Lana being booked better than Miro? And I laughed. And I laughed because I was like, so Lana got put through a table 7 weeks in a row.
And that's booked better than what they're doing with Miro.
And I'm like, and Miro hasn't been pinned. And he has pretty much destroyed anybody he's been in the ring with. So I'm like, I'm not even trying to be sarcastic. I'm just like,
sure, yeah.
I'm like, the dude hasn't really even taken damage, Oh,
they protected the fuck out of him.
They protected the fuck. So I'm like, so how'd she get? Okay, never mind. It's funny. I heard this term, and I'm only using it because I heard it. They call like diehard WWE fans. People have been calling them Vincels. And I was like, I guess I don't understand Vincel thinking because I'm like, one hasn't been touched, and like he was in a match with Beretta, who, is a fairly pushed act and he's part of a tag team that has had, been featured in the show, and he destroyed him. Like, just whooped his ass and tapped him out. Called him his young boy. But he's getting booked horribly because he gets to wear what he wants to wear, and you don't like that he wants to wear $1,500 sweaters or whatever he wants to wear, and he wants to talk about video games.
Or he wants to have blonde hair like Stan.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't get it. It's just like, but because if you look at the actual wrestling story and how he's booked, he's being booked as a monster again.
Yeah.
They're going back to 2015 booking. And it's just like, of course you want to build this slow build. Because yes, you could came in and had him win 6 matches, fought Moxley and lose. But, I mean, that's the Monster of the Week strategy. They're trying to build Miro's brand. Because I guarantee you he wasn't cheap.
No, God, no.
He wasn't cheap. So they're trying to build a brand and put it behind him to the point where he is main eventing pay-per-views one day. It takes a while to get there.
Yeah, I like understand that I enjoy AEW and I enjoy WWE, but Vince sells is the greatest pun I've ever heard. Like, holy shit, that is good. Afterwards, going into Miro, he was backstage with Alex Marvez, and he's told that Miro just got fined $75,000 for attacking 3 people. And Miro was like, it was Orange Cassidy's fault, and just blamed it on OC. And we're continuing this feud. I'm excited to see when these two actually get to scrap. Then Mad King Eddie Kingston comes out with a mic, and he starts talking. He said, boo, cheer my name, because at the end of the day, I don't care about any of you people. He wants to address his enemies. Where's the bastard Pac? He went home. He's nursing his neck. His career is done. Now here's the other one. Big goofy bastard Lance Archer. Lance then comes down and just starts beating the shit out of Eddie Kingston. Butcher and the Blade come out to help him. Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero Miedo comes out and joins. And then Pac shows up. Death Triangle comes out in full. Rey Fenix then took out the Butcher and the Blade, got him with a Tornillo. Pac and Archer then were just kind of like, well, which one of us is going to get to finish off Kingston? Eventually, they all retreated, and Archer and Death Triangle were standing in the ring. And yeah, I mean, like, this pairing of Lance Archer and Death Triangle is an odd one for sure.
It is definitely odd because he's with Pac, and honestly, Pac is small, right? But his character and Lance Archer character is really, really like close. They're both monsters. He's different in different ways. Yeah, if Pac is wrestling anybody that's not like Kenny Omega, he's destroying them, just kind of like Lance Archer is. They're both push strong, so they kind of fight over, or like they're like 2 alpha males, like, and Eddie Kingston is the meat, and it's like who eats first. And Lance Archer. That's
the thing too is like Lance Archer is the more unleashed one, like the unhinged one, whereas Pac is more of the snarky one, like just kind of like full of himself and all that stuff, and he wants to show you how good he is.
Yes, because he is the best wrestler in the world.
Seriously, I mean, like I believe it. I believe it. Then there was a short interview with the natural Dustin Rhodes talking. He was asked about if he considered Dark Order's offer from last week. He said, bad idea. It wasn't a good idea of them doing that. And he's going to kick Evil Uno's ass. Afterwards,
I wanted to say that was the most like 80s, 90s promo ever. 80s promos yeah, he was yelling and he's like, he's going to whoop their asses. And I just like, I kind of got pumped up because it brought me back to 10-year-old Floyd that was like, oh my God, because that's like how every promo was. It was like, what you going to do, brother? Every promo was like yelling. You had a few wrestlers that knew how to do it the other way, but yeah, most promos were yelling, and it just took me way back to that.
If you weren't like Jake the Snake Roberts, like you were like really shouting with your promos.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was good stuff.
12-man tag. Yeah, we have the 12-man tag match Inner Circle, which includes the Demo God Chris Jericho, MJF, Sammy Guevara, Santana and Ortiz, Jake Hager versus Best Friends, Top Flight, and the Varsity Blondes. Like we said, they proceeded to there was an unevenness to it, so Brandon Cutler was the one who did not take part in this matchup. Like, there was a...
Give the gift of choice this season with multi-store cards at giftcards.com. With multi-store cards, treat them to dinner, movies, or shopping on one convenient card. Featuring all your favorites like Macy's, Ulta, and Lululemon. It's a great gift card everyone will love. For last-minute gifting, choose the Happy Holidays or Holiday Favorites e-gift, delivered straight to their inbox. Purchase multi-store cards today at www.giftcards.com/multistore.
Who are you texting?
My therapist.
You text with your therapist?
Text, video chat, call. Yep.
That sounds too easy. How did you find her?
I just went to betterhelp.com/save. She's a licensed therapist and it's all online. I connect when it's convenient for me and don't waste time driving anywhere. Plus, it's affordable.
I wonder if I should try it.
It's great to talk to someone in confidence. She's helped me sort out quite a few things. And right now you save 10% off the first month when you go through betterhelp.com/save.
betterhelp.com/save. Got it.
Lot just in this match, like, just overall, like, just like, I mean, it was very much like what you expect with an AEW multi-man match, like all over the place, a lot of high spots. I mean, I don't have a ton to say on this match, honestly, because it was just kind of like a lot of the same, and just like
so much happened, I felt nothing.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. It's like, I mean, these teams teaming up to face off against the Inner Circle, like, there wasn't a ton of weight behind it. I mean, the stuff they did was cool. Honestly, there was a ton of cool shit. But like, Sammy Guevara, like, still shows me as like one guy. It's like, I just cannot wait to see if he actually does break off from Inner Circle and like go on his own, because I really think he could do good shit. Eventually, like, the match finished with MJF getting the win, pinning Griff Garrison, and then afterwards, Darius and Dante Martin hit stereo drop kicks on MJF and Jericho, and they got mad, and I think it meant that we're going to get a match between Top Flight versus Jericho and MJF, which, I mean, that would be interesting, I would think.
Yeah,
but again, like, it's my issue with multi-man matches, especially with ones that doesn't have a ton behind it. It's just a ton of stuff happening, but like, there's not a ton of weight to it.
So let me tell you, this is one of the many things I love about AEW is that everything leads to something. Like Cody, I now know Cody and Helico's match was to build on the fact that they were announcing they had a kid. Didn't know that at the time. I was like, why are they wrestling? I have no idea why they're wrestling. So that was the whole purpose of that. But if you look at every other match, you know, the match is a string to the next match. You get a title shot because you beat this person. In this case, Jericho and, you know, MJF got attacked by Top Flight, so that leads to a match. There's no, like, just random matches, and you very rarely get the same match 2 weeks in a row. Something another company could very much learn from.
Sure.
Yeah. A different company with like 3 times the roster. You should never have the same match 2 weeks in a row. Ever.
Completely true. And like, we know that this match in general was leading to Top Flight versus MJF and Jericho, which I believe they announced we're seeing next week. Yeah, we are. And so, I mean, that alone, that makes sense as to why this match happened in general. It's just like, there wasn't a ton there. Like, the spots were cool, and like, all these wrestlers are cool, but like, I don't know. Like, I mean, that's just me with multi-man matches. Unless it's just like, unless there's like something like special behind it, or like a really good feud building out of it. Like, a lot of times these multi-man matches just don't do anything for me.
AEW has changed my mind on 6-man matches. They have put on a good 8-man match. I think any more than 4-on-4 is clutter to me.
Yes, I totally agree.
And it's just I love wrestling and I want to watch everything, but it's just like nothing means anything. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, No one should ever win because one person should always at least be healthy enough to break up the pin. So I don't know. It breaks with my it just breaks my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, I mean, dude, couldn't say it better myself. Alex Marvez had a trio of interviews. This was the third one with Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa talked about Britt Baker and how she belonged here in AEW. Reba interrupted the interview, and Britt Baker attacked Thunder Rosa from behind and then poured water on her, just like ruining her face paint. Really good heel heat, just true, bitchy, catty heel heat, really strong. I really liked it. And then SCU, Christopher Daniels, and Frankie Kazarian versus the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. They had some good bars in this one. I remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Acclaimed and how I thought their bars with the Young Bucks looking down at their penises on the book cover was kind of lame. This was some good stuff, honestly. I don't remember exactly all the stuff that they said off the top of my head, honestly, but I do know that they did much better with their raps this week, and also Frankie Kazarian's response was lovely. Loved it really, really well.
It was definitely less, for lack of a better term, homophobic, even though, one of the wrestlers in the team is gay, so I guess it can't be. I don't know how that worked. But they were.
It's I guess it was cringy.
Yeah, it was very cringy. It was that's not stuff on a national TV with the fan base you have. It's not something you really do. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I love Max Caster. I love his rap. Like I said, everybody has a swing and a miss every now and then. So he had one, then moved on, and he killed it again this week. And Austin Gunn put out a freestyle this week that killed it. Go to his Twitter. I'm thinking pretty soon AEW is gonna have to put out a rap album with nothing but wrestlers rapping. It's gonna have to happen.
They better get some good producers on that. I want to see No ID, Metro Boomin, and I want to see Zombie on the Track or something along the lines. Just as many hip hop producers as you can get, and then just get the most randomest. That what they need to do is they need to get a random a hip hop meets EDM beat, and get Orange Cassidy on that. And have nothing happen until the build-up, and then Orange Cassidy just says, whatever, and then the beat drops. That would be the shit.
Yes, we need bars. We need bars. But no, seriously. Max Caster is bringing me back to my old school John Cena vibes. I always tell people, I still have an active email, wordlifewmxx at yahoo.com. That's wordlife WrestleMania20 at yahoo.com. It is still an active email for me because I was such a John Cena white rapper mark. Then he quit rapping and I stopped liking him. And then he started doing the hustle, loyalty, and respect thing. I was like, boo. Kissing babies and doing all that. I know. I wanted the rapper that came out to a simple beat and dissed everybody and then threw nuts at him. And it was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah, these nuts. Yeah, that was so lame. But now it's lame. But at that time, it was the most original thing. It was the most original thing I'd ever seen. So it was I had my, lock that I wore around my neck. Yes, I was a super John Cena mark. I always tell people, when they say, oh, you just hate Cena because it's popular. No, I kind of hate Cena because he had a character that I liked, and then he went away from it. And if your character changes, I'm not just going to root for you just because you're you. I mean, I was rooting for the character.
There you go.
But, Max Caster, very much John Cena vibes. I don't know if he'll ever be the number one guy or whatever, but the coolness of it, the edginess of it, everything that John Cena had, he brings, and then Anthony Bowens just looks like $1.5 million the dude's physique is just out of this world.
No kidding.
It is the perfect complement to each other.
Yeah, and this match was just it was the Acclaim's debut on Dynamite, and they beat SCU, very strong debut, and then they said that they wanted to challenge the Young Bucks to a tag team title match next week on Dynamite. So they literally just went out, beat the Young Bucks' friends, and then was just like, "We want your titles." So I mean, if that's not making a statement and making yourself known, I don't know what is. So
yeah, that was a pretty strong statement. And Frankie looked like he got a little pissed at CD.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. I can't wait.
I mean, if SCU falls apart, I'm gonna be so sad. Top Flight got interviewed by Dasha. It was about the MJF Jericho match challenge, which we talked about already. Next up, NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb, my girl, teams with Big Swole to face Diamante and Ivelisse. Now, it's once again the one women's match, but I love everybody in this match, and I think it was all right. I think it was all right for what it was trying to be. And I like I said, I got nothing but love for everybody in this match. The whole match just finished up with Big Swole tried to get the finish. Diamante got out of the way. She then headbutts Diamante, hits her with a Tiger Driver, and then eventually Big Swole gets the win by tapping out Diamante. And then Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose show up, destroys Serena Deeb and Big Swole. Red Velvet then comes out with a steel chair and chases out Vicky, Nyla, Diamante, and Ivelisse, because they were all just going after it after Serena Deeb and Big Swole. So Red Velvet gets the save. I'm sure it'll probably lead to, I want to say, a 6-woman match, I would assume. But I enjoyed the tag match. I want to see a lot more of these women matches have a little bit more stakes behind it. But I mean, this stuff is getting built on, I can see. But I mean, it's still getting there. But I just want to see if they take any of these girls and really start pushing them to the stratosphere.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this tag match. I honestly think Big Swole is better in tag team competition than in singles. I'm not saying she's not a perfectly adequate wrestler. I just think when it's singles and it's on her for about 10 to 15 minutes, you kind of see her limitations. But in a tag match, when she's in and out, she looks way stronger. And this finisher, I wouldn't call it new because she's used it a couple of times, but it's kind of like a Walls of Texas Cloverleaf. And that's kind of awesome because, Dean Malenko's in the back. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is just a great, it's almost a homage to Jericho and Malenko, which is cool. And it's like everyone should tap out to that move. So if she could build up an offense based around, working on the back and the leg to get in that move, I think that would be, I think I would definitely enjoy that style, because the one thing I've noticed is when I look at a wrestler style, very few people have one. You know what I mean? It's just almost like they're doing moves. They don't go from one to another and mean something. So if we can get that kind of stuff, so some continuity, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, totally. We then had a little moment with FTR. FTR and Tully Blanchard comes out to the broadcast table. They said, Jurassic Express, you're in our crosshairs. And Tully Blanchard says, fear the revelation. They just came out pretty much to make a statement that we're going after Jurassic Express, since they didn't really have anything to do on this show, which, I mean, happens sometimes. But I mean, just made sure that they reminded us, hey, FTR will be going after Jurassic Express. So you better be paying attention for when that happens.
This was an amazing promo. Definite emotion, definitely building till their next rival, which is amazing. But he said something very weird and I didn't understand. He said something about Luchasaurus wearing a mask, a guy in a mask, and I'm like, I mean,
he's a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah, he's like 1 million years old. I didn't get that. It was a cheap shot. It was unnecessary. FTR's my boys, and I'm always on their side. But you know what? Don't be hating on dinosaurs, yo. That's discrimination.
Why would you hate dinosaurs?
That's discrimination. It
is discrimination. I mean, like, I wouldn't say it's racist because I don't think dinosaurs.
It's speciesism.
Yeah, it's speciesism. Yeah,
yes,
something like that.
Like, don't hate on the dinosaur. Dude, hey, that's his face.
We all like Jurassic Park. We all like Jurassic Park. So, like, come on.
Oh, come on, bro. Come on. All right.
Main event time. Well, let's wait on that. Main event time, obviously, which is Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, facing Joey Janela. But I guess we can mention also what happened on Impact this week, since Kenny Omega did show up once again on Impact with Don Callis. We were kind of expecting a drop-off with Impact, considering this would be the second time that Kenny showed up. There was a significant drop-off, which, I mean, like, kind of comes with the territory. There was a ton of eyes that were just like, what the fuck's going to happen? And now that he's showing, like, the suspense in the, like, of what the hell would happen and the surprise of it was gone. So we knew people were probably going to drop off on it. But we did get the announcement of Kenny Omega coming out and proceeding to beat up on Rich Swann, as Rich Swann got into a fight with the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, or Doc Gallows, more like it. And they got into a fight. Motor City Machine Guns tried to come out and protect Rich. Didn't happen well. And then Kenny Omega shows up and then announced for their pay-per-view coming up in January. Name's blanking on me. I apologize. It will be a Bullet Club-esque reunion of Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson versus the Impact World Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, that's going to be a dope match. So, since you are from Michigan, do you like always root for the Motor City Machine Guns?
I fucking love the Motor City Machine Guns, dude. Like, Michigan doesn't get enough. Like, we're pretty decent. Like, obviously, we're not Chicago. But we're a pretty decent wrestling city, but there's very few wrestlers that are like crazy good that come from Michigan. If anything, our most famous wrestler is Kevin Nash, and I love Kevin Nash. But
see, I think he might be most famous crossover. But as far as wrestling fans, you gotta go with Rob Van Dam.
That is 100% true too. Yeah, you know what? I don't know why I blanked on that. That makes total fucking sense. Yeah, Rob Van Dam would probably be like
the wrestler fan,
wrestling fan favorite. So like crossover, like in old school, like Kevin Nash. Obviously, like if you watch WCW in the '90s, like you love the Outsiders and the NWO. So Kevin Nash is up there for like your crossover or like your heel or whatever. Rob Van Dam is just like everyone fucking loves that dude.
Hey, you know what? No matter
tag team for Michigan is Motor City Machine Guns. No question about it.
No matter how famous Rob Van Dam got, no matter where he moves, when he like for the longest time, it said from Grand Rapids, Michigan. That was it, and it was like you think about it, huh?
I was gonna say Grand Rapids isn't too far away from where I live, so like I was literally every time I heard that I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. But he's lived in California, God knows how long. but he still
says
from Grand Rapids.
You know what? We appreciate that you still rock us. We appreciate it.
That's representing. He kind of went heel in Impact, so I haven't watched him in a while. He might be saying California now, but yeah, for the longest time through his short WWE title reign, ECW title reign, he was from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I know that. It's like certain places are identifiable with certain wrestlers. If anyone ever brings up Grand Rapids, Michigan, first thing I think is Rob Van Dam.
Absolutely. I mean, like, that's the thing. Also, I will say Eric Bischoff is from Michigan. So, fuck yeah on that. And I just like to point that out because I just think that's really fucking cool. But now we can get into the main event after we talked about what happened on Impact. Kenny Omega with Don Callis showing up, facing off against Joey Janela in a singles match. And he came, well, first of all, Janela came down, he had a metal garbage can, and he just nailed Kenny Omega in the head with it, and then just as he was making his entrance. And they were just going after it. At one point, Kenny Omega hit Joey Janela with a cookie sheet, which, I mean, man, they just went after it. there's a lot, I feel like, just like in this match with a couple things. Eventually, Sonny Kiss came out and pulled out a table and set it up, and then Joey Janela put Kenny Omega on the table, jumped from the top turnbuckle, leg drop on Kenny Omega, put him through the table. He then tries for a moonsault press, gets V-trigger twice, and then gets one-winged angel and gets put down on his head. And that's the win. The cookie sheet coming out I thought was fucking hysterical. But eventually, Pac and Death Triangle come out, and he goes up to Kenny. He's like, we have some unfinished business because Rey Fénix competed in that tournament. He didn't lose. And then Don Callis goes, wrestlers don't tell the world champion what to do. And Pac is like, nope, I talked to Tony Khan, December 30th, Dynamite. Whether you like it or not, Rey Fénix is getting a shot at that title. I want to die. It sounds like I just see the image in my head of these two fighting, and I'm just like, fucking yes, like for the title, and it would just.
Okay.
I mean, like, that's a selling point, I think.
Absolutely. But first about the match. Yes. Joey Janela. Like I said, every match has a reason. This match had a reason. But they have I don't know if this is a long-term story going forward for Joey Janela. This is long-term booking that I don't understand. But I'm going to react like what's happening right now with knowing that I am going to be patient and see what happens in the future. They have kind of buried Joey Janela.
Yeah.
You never think he's winning. Like, I was excited about this match, and then I realized it's Joey Janela. He's going to do some crazy shit, and then Kenny Omega's going to pin him. Even Kenny Omega, when he was talking about it, he was like, it's Joey Janela. You know, I'll beat him up. Oh, he wants this type of match? Yeah, no DQ. I'm not scared of him. But when Rey Fénix tried to cash his check, cash his match, and he's like, whoa, you don't make matches. So it's like, he's scared of Rey Fénix. So even in that moment, I'm just talking about if you're a casual fan, like looking in, knowing how the match happened, one guy he knew he could beat up. So that puts even Joey Janela lower on the totem pole. And then Rey Fénix is like, oh, okay, I might actually lose to that guy. So I don't know.
I was going to say,
maybe I overthink.
Joey.
Yeah, maybe I'm overthinking. I was just saying, maybe I'm overthinking it. It's just like Joey Janela, when he signed, I had never really saw anything except some of the big falls he had done. I'd never really watched him wrestle. So I was really excited about how they were going to present him on AEW. And the answer is they weren't.
That was the thing is like, I feel like Joey Janela is the kind of guy where it's like, I don't know, he's just kind of coasting. And I think he's fine with that. It's like, that's just the kind of vibe that I get off of him, where it's like, on the indies, he kind of just did whatever the fuck he wanted. And whether he won, whether he lost, it didn't necessarily matter. People knew Joey Janela because of the crazy shit that he did. And he's still doing that, I feel like, on AEW. And if anything, I think just him being, like, I remember him saying, working with AEW and working for AEW, he's like, all of a sudden wrestling feels like a job to him. Whereas, like, before when he was on the independents, he just worked for money and he just got to do crazy shit and he was getting paid for it and it wasn't even like work. But because AEW produces weekly television and they have pay-per-views and all this kind of stuff, and there's a ton of other people on the roster that he's, I guess, like, I mean, I wouldn't say competing because I think like AEW doesn't treat it like that, but it's like, I just feel like he kind of just doesn't, like, I don't know. I feel like it could get to the point where he just like be like, I appreciate my time. I want to just go off to the indies and fuck off and just do whatever I want, because he just kind of seems like the guy that like lives without a care and doesn't like the idea of just having a bunch of shit on his plate that he's got to like work for. And that's fine. And I think just AEW know like AEW and like the guys know that like Joey's not really the kind of guy that does this kind of stuff, and they're just not going to force him into doing something that he doesn't want to do. So, I mean, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting off of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. But, like, it just seems like kind of like, I don't know. He's just not really into that sort of thing.
Like I said, we were very much, this is a fan show. We're not insider or anything like that. It's just so weird to me that, you know, this guy with all this buzz has just kind of like been He's just kind of guy on the roster right now. And like I said, I mean, they might be building up something for the future. Like I said, I'm always a person that says preach patience. So I don't even know how long his deal is. So it could be like they want you to think he's a loser for like a year or two, and then they start pushing the shit out of him. But as of right now, December 19, 2020, he's kind of a jobber.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of just as what it is right now. And, like, again, if he has an issue with it, he'll probably leave. But again, I think if he does leave, it's just because he wants to do whatever the fuck he wants to do on the indies and not really, like, feel like he has, like, just any sort of thing to keep up, like, or whatnot. Like, he's a guy that's never cared about appearances. He's a guy that's never really cared about, like, what people think about him. And he just does the shit that he wants to do. So I think if he has the freedom to do anything he wants without like a boss telling him of like the things he needs to do, like I think that's just kind of the life that he wants to live. But again, just an outsider and giving my 2 cents on it. But with all that said, that is AEW Dynamite for this week. A decent show, I feel like, all things considered. I don't think in terms of wrestling we saw anything like outstanding. We are still seeing a lot of story stuff being built up. And the cool down, I think, from Winter is Coming is happening right now, where it's as like we're now just starting to like slowly build these stories up as we continue on after the end of 2020 leading into 2021 when AEW tries to get towards their next pay-per-view and like just stories are starting to go back and forth. But I am very excited for Rey Fenix and Kenny Omega, and we can go ahead and get into what we're seeing next week on AEW Dynamite with our preview. But Floyd, please let the lovely people listening to this podcast know that you can still vote for the All Things Elite End of the Year Awards.
Yes. I am happy to announce that we have 202 people, 203. Somebody just entered. 203 people that have entered into this poll for the contest that for the end of the year awards. I mean, we got some runaways. We got some really tight voting. So get out there. I was kind of going to do a rundown, but I don't really want to influence who people are voting for. So just know 203 people have voted. There's some really close ones in there, and there's some ones that pretty much would need a miracle to change the mind. I actually in one of the categories, the person winning has 72% of the vote. It is like not even close. It's not even close. It's like they have all these votes and the next person has 10. And it's crazy. And it's like shocking to me. And I love it. And I can honestly say, for me, no one that I would have picked for any of these categories is winning. So I'm telling you, when I do it, this is not going to be just like me and Austin picking. This is going to be true. And I have decided, I mean, I'm going to still go hard for the 1,000 entries. That's the goal. And if we get to 1,000, I will give out 2 $100 gift cards to Shop AEW. Well, if we don't get there, which of course, I'm just going to leave it open. I'm going to leave it to the fates. If we don't, I will do 100 first prize, 50 second prize, 25 third prize, just because I am so overwhelmed about how many people have taken time out of their life to spend it out. It only takes 2 minutes to finish, and we are taking it until midnight on January 1st. So when the clock goes from 11:59 on December 31st to January 1st, that's the point I'm going to click the thing to stop accepting responses. And that's going to be the finals. And then me and Austin, and if we get a special guest, we'll break down everything on our next episode of All Things Elite after that.
Absolutely. And just because, like I said, we have over 200 responses from people, doesn't mean that we don't want to tap it off right now. We want to get as many people as possible. So if you haven't done it before and you haven't done it yet, be sure to look at AT Elite Pod. That is where the tweet is about the end of the year awards link. It's also in the show notes of this episode itself. So If you haven't voted, please do. We want to see exactly what everybody thinks about this year in AEW. But getting into the preview for next week's Dynamite, the eve of Christmas Eve episode, if you will, it's also going to be a late showing because NBA basketball is coming back. Yes! I'm so excited. And we got a lot that's coming
I don't
that's
feel like
announced.
I'm sad because I don't feel like I got my full LeBron celebration time. That was cut short, and the King deserves twice as much celebrating time, not half as much celebrating time. But I guess if we start to
just think that they're going to come back and win the whole thing
again, so that's what I was going to say. If we get start the new basketball season around June, we'll be talking about the two-time NBA Finals champion, LeBron James, the greatest of all time.
All right. So next week, we're going to get the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed for the tag team titles. As we saw from this week, they announced it. Dustin Rhodes versus Evil Uno, which they announced this week. Pac versus the Butcher in singles competition. Very interested to see that. Jurassic Express will be going after Dark Order's members 5, 10, and Boom Boom Cold Cabana. Yay. And then we're going to get Jericho and MJF versus Top Flight. So a lot of stuff that we talked about earlier in the show. I'm interested to see with Jurassic Express and 5, 10, and Cold Cabana.
That's going to be
most likely, I assume, like after the match, FTR is going to do something.
That is going to be a lot of spots in that one. And I think Pac and the Butcher is the match I'm most looking forward to.
I was going to say.
Yeah, Top Flight with Jericho and MJF. I think because Top Flight is, like a super babyface tag team, and they'll sell for Jericho and MJF. I think that'll be like some old school storytelling there. So, and then of course the Young Bucks and anybody, the Young Bucks, gods of tag team wrestling, as I've called them. Them and anybody is like going to be amazing. So you got the Acclaimed out there, and it's going to be fun. And it's just like, it seems like the Young Bucks is, getting the young tag teams in AEW over tour right now.
Right. Now I would say I can't agree with you on anything else on that. But that's everything we have for All Things Elite. In terms of birthdays, got to give a shout out. Yesterday, we're recording on the 19th, December 18th yesterday, it was Mikey Ruckus's birthday. Happy birthday to him. And also, slight note, apparently it has been said that Lucha Bros did sign extensions with AEW back in August. Fuck yeah, I can't not stop seeing the Lucha Bros on my television. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for re-signing. I want to see more of you in AEW. So yeah, absolutely. So happy that they re-signed. But that's all we got, I think, for this week in All Things Elite. Remember, we are off next week because of the holidays. I really hope you guys have an amazing holiday, whether you celebrate Christmas, whether you've been celebrating Hanukkah, whether you just celebrated Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, we hope you have a genuinely happy holiday.
Don't forget about Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes, exactly. Be sure to download this show on Google or Apple Podcasts if you enjoy it. You can also share us around if you listen to us on Spotify or Anchor or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Leave a rating and review. Let us know what we could do better. We always try to improve. You can also leave a donation through Red Circle. We would so appreciate that. On Twitter, we are at AT Elite Pod. At Social Suplex are the guys that make this show possible. I am at SZoomer4. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. All of that is on Twitter. And Floyd, give these lovely people a lovely holiday send-off and take us home for tonight. Happy holidays, guys. Floyd, take it away.
One last time, I want to say congratulations to Cody and Brandi Rhodes. I'm very happy for you because, that's what you want. And then I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy December. Whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate, I just hope the next couple weeks while we're off is the best time ever. I know 2020 has been tough, and guess what? We only have like 11 more days of it, and so hopefully the brighter side is on 2021. But to anybody struggling with their mental health or anything, just make sure you reach out. I mean, I'm not saying reach out to me because you don't know me like that, but if you want to reach out to me, at Floyd Johnson Jr., I will answer every DM. But other than that, I'm just saying, just reach out to your friends, family. Make sure you are getting the support you need, because this time is especially downtime at times. So I wish you, again, all a Merry Christmas. And in honor of the king or the god, which is Kenny Omega, I wish you good night and goodbye. Bang. There you go.
Swag.
It's good night and goodbye, right?
Yeah, it is goodbye. It's. Oh, you mean goodbye and good night?
See, I said it wrong. So I'm glad we're still recording. So I said it wrong. So whether you're at a home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite. Yeah, and I'm keeping all of that in there.
Looking for the perfect gift? Check out a Visa virtual account, available at giftcards.com. Gifting a Visa virtual account is easy. Simply select your gift amount, add optional personalization, and click send. A thoughtful gift delivered in moments. As one of the world's most recognized brands, virtual Visa cards are secure, never expire, and work for any budget. They're also eco-friendly. Eliminate the need for plastic with a virtual gift delivered straight to their inbox. Whether you're shopping for a family member, friend, coworker, or client, a Visa virtual account is always the perfect fit. Visa virtual accounts can be used online anywhere Visa is accepted, so the possibilities are endless. They're convenient to send and easy to spend, making it the perfect gift for any occasion. Start gifting your virtual Visa today at www.giftcards.com/virtual.